Final piece of the puzzle. Just took a while to actually get it working, but I've disconnected this, just making sure that it's picking up the right device. And you could see, although it's offset wrongly, obviously the geometry is completely wrong. You can see how it's reacting to me touching it, which means I can now develop this because all I need to do is just map the geometry. And if I show you this whilst I touch it, you can see how it's responding. There we go. So we've got coordinate values and stuff. Yeah, as I did the touch. So now it renders. So it's doing the visuals, even though they're all messed up like a Picasso, and it's doing the touch even though the geometry is wrong. And it's rendering fast enough, of course, but I mean that's the original Raspberry Pi, so it's no problem. So now we can actually use this display completely, no problems. So all I need to do now is change this, do the geometry correctly on the software. I've got a different graphic, I think, for this. And also I need to get the actual geometry of the screen because I want to make sure it's rendered 1:1. This is actually a HD 1080p. That's 1080 pixels that way, but the display itself is only 600, so that's why it's a problem. So now I need to render a graphic which is 1024 pixels that way by 600 that way, and then I can actually set up the screen. It's not going to be this is just something else, just to make sure it works. And then that means that I'll get this working correctly, because you can see when I get down to here, that's 1024, that's 600, I think, the plot, I'm guessing. Okay, and then if I go over here to this side, you can see it's about halfway. Now it thinks it's 1920 when it's actually only 1024, you see. And the same with this one, is that when I get to the bottom of the screen, yeah, this is supposed to be 1080 when it's only actually 600 or something like that, I don't know. But I need to make sure I set up the offsets correctly. But it's working. I am actually getting response from the touch, so I can obviously map the geometry. And so we're on. And now I can actually create software which will actually render nice and crisp and be a proper touchscreen, which is good.